All right, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Marcus Smart. Hopefully we're on episode 16, if I was right about last episode being episode 15. If that wasn't episode 15, then this isn't episode 16. But anyways, what we have for you today is our preview of WWE Battleground 2016. And I would like to start this off with a thumbs down! Simply because I spent like 15 minutes today going out of my mind just trying to find the card for Battleground on WWE.com. I don't know if you've tried to go through this frustrating, confusing maze of a website, and maybe I'm just an old man being like, technology bad, websites bad. But this is the most obtuse website. I kept clicking on Battleground, and all I could find was results for Battleground 2015. I could get a countdown clock telling me how close I was to Battleground. I could get a link to sign me up to the WWE Network. I could get tickets for Battleground. But nowhere could I find where Battleground is. And most likely, I'm just an idiot. But for goodness sakes, there's a lot of idiots that watch wrestling, and we should be able to navigate a website. So I don't know what's up with that. I ended up literally getting this off of Wikipedia, for God's sakes, because Wikipedia has it up. I could have gone to some other sites. What I didn't get anywhere was what the pre-show matches are going to be. So I don't know what pre-show is. But we'll go through what I do have. Just what a weird thing to be frustrated about, right? Oh, I'm just going to go get the card. That should be easy. No, not that easy. All right. Anyways, let's start it off. Where are we going to talk about the draft? We're going to talk about it when we get down to Rusev and Ryder. All right. So, Sasha Banks and a mystery partner versus Charlotte and Dana Brooke. So that's our first match of Battleground. I don't know if it's going to be the first match, but it's the first one I got here. This match, we know it's a transition match. We know we're building to SummerSlam between Sasha and Charlotte. And we just need this to get us there. I feel like Charlotte and Dana have really been getting kind of, at least Charlotte. I know Sasha's been beating Dana, but Charlotte's always been keeping one up on Sasha. She making her jump through all these hoops and then these matches and the 2-on-1 match. I feel like this is a good place for Sasha to kind of get a little bit of a win for Sasha. So I'm calling this one for Sasha if the mystery partner is Bayley, which I hope it's Bayley, but it's either Bayley or another strong choice is Carmella, who was in the draft, or literally any of the other females drafted. Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, blah, 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 whatever. Any other new females that came up and got drafted. The problem I have with Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, anything like that is they don't make as much sense. I don't see a connection between Sasha Banks and Carmella. That just seems to be for no reason. Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss, certainly not. Sasha Banks and Nia Jax, certainly not. These characters don't have a history together, where Bayley and Sasha have a history together. Bayley and Charlotte have a history together. Bayley and Dana have a history together. Bayley makes so much more sense. And Bayley will be a shock. If it's one of the three that we just saw announced on Raw, how much of a surprise is it really going to be to anybody? Not that much of a surprise. If it's Bayley, someone who's on neither roster right now, it's a huge surprise. So, please let it be Bayley. Then Sasha and Bayley can go on and win. If it's not Bayley, and then Bayley can go back to NXT and finish up her feud with Asuka. That's fine. Don't mind. She can come back later. But just have her make her debut at Battleground. If it's not, and it's one of the other three, then I don't care. If Charlotte and Dana win, honestly, Charlotte and Dana win. The only way I see it working different is maybe Nia Jax could come off looking strong like Sasha and Nia. Sasha and Nia, the only good thing with the Sasha Nia Jax angle is that Sasha, Nia, Charlotte, and Dana are all on Raw. So that would make some sense there. Because then maybe she could start something, right, with Charlotte, and she could come out with Sasha maybe. Who knows what role Nia Jax is going to play. You know what, if she does a bodyguard role, like a Shawn Michaels Diesel with Sasha Banks and Nia Jax, I don't mind that so much either. And in that, you know what, I'll give it to Sasha and Nia. But definitely Sasha and Alexa, even though I love Alexa, I don't see the point of putting that team over. And Sasha and Carmella, I don't see the point in putting that team over. So if mystery partner is Nia or Bayley, I'm giving it to Sasha's team. If it's anybody other than those two, I give it to Charlotte's team. That's what I think. New Day versus the Wyatts. With the Wyatts being split up, not split up because Braun Strowman's being pulled out of the group, which I've been feeling like this is going to happen. They really want to push Braun Strowman to the moon because he's this huge beast. Who knows what he can really do in the ring in a match? He hasn't really shown a lot, but I'm not counting him out. A lot of people just want to count him out because he's big and WWE likes him. And if WWE likes a big guy at all, like people just want to write him off. But I don't think that's fair to Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman could have a lot of surprises for us. So we'll see. I'm interested in really seeing a singles run for Braun Strowman and see what he can do with it. It could be interesting. Like, nobody's expecting him to do like a top rope moonsault or anything. So he's just got to be big and destroy people, and let's see if he can do that. I think he can. But I really don't see the point in pushing the Wyatts right now until... oh my God, what is wrong with me today? I want to say Brody Lee, and that's so not his name anymore. Until the other guy comes back. Eric Rowan, and all I can say is Brody Lee. All right. So until the New Day's united, I don't see the point in pushing them now. Or until Wyatts are kind of reunited, because I assume they're going to get the third member back. It's just Braun Strowman who's going to leave. I don't see the point in pushing them right now over New Day. I think New Day should take the win. They're both on separate brands, so I don't really see where this feud can go anyways. Give it to the New Day. The only way, is it for the tag team titles? Oh, if it's for the tag team titles, that could be different, but I don't know. Are the tag team titles on the line? I don't think so. It's a trios match, right? So again, it would help if I could just find it on WWE.com. Anyways, I say put New Day over. The only way I see this going the other way is if some hoodoo Xavier Woods stuff happens, like he got put in a trance, and Xavier has some role to play in the Wyatts winning, and then that makes sense, and then that maybe starts an interesting storyline with Xavier and the New Day. But if there's no voodoo stuff, I give it to New Day. Rusev versus Ryder. This is like Rusev hands down. Like Rusev should win. Here's the interesting thing. We have Rusev versus Ryder, and it's a Raw champion versus a SmackDown opponent. Then after we have Miz versus Darren Young, which is a SmackDown champion versus a Raw opponent. Now what I'm really worried about, and I've seen, if you've been around for a while and you've seen these drafts in the past, this has happened before. And what happened, it was ridiculous, was let's just say Ryder beats Rusev, and then, oh no, now there's 2 belts on SmackDown, but then Darren Young beats The Miz and brings the IC title back to Raw, and all is good again. We've seen that angle before. We've seen that exact angle play out before with the US title and the IC title back in the day with probably I think it was in the original draft. So please tell me that's not what you're going to do. Because to do that, you're going to have to bury Rusev. And this guy's just getting his steam back. This guy is a beast. No offense to Zack Ryder, but Rusev should not be get beaten clean in a one-on-one match with Zack Ryder. That should not happen. Rusev has beaten guys like John Cena. He had great feud with John Cena for the US title way back then, before the Ziggler nonsense happened. This guy should be cusping greatness. Losing to Ryder doesn't send that message to me. Unless he's going to lose this title and they're really going to push a main event. I don't see Rusev going main event tomorrow, so I think he should keep the belt. And also, I just don't want the dumbness of the US title goes here, the IC title goes here. That's just going to drive me crazy. So Rusev keeps the title on Ryder, and because Rusev keeps the title, Darren Young can't take the title. We don't want the US title and the IC title on one show. They absolutely could do it, though. Here's a way that it could work. Now, let me talk about this, because there's a certain guy on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, there's a certain guy from New York. He's got certain initials in his name, a J and a D, and he likes to scream a lot, and he likes to swear a lot, and he likes to say how terrible Raw is, and this is all terrible, and he knows better. I didn't love the draft, right? We've talked about that, but I'm waiting. I'm patient. I understand that they're developing things. I don't think I know better than Vince McMahon. Like, Vince McMahon built wrestling. To say I know better than him would be ignorant. So here's where I think, and Mr. Dude from New York points out that there's nothing they can do with the titles. There's no way the titles can work now. They're completely screwed up. They should have put women on one show and tag teams on the other show. And you can only watch women on this show, and you can only watch tag teams on this show. Well, one, that's crap. Why should women be relegated to only one show? That's insulting. Why wouldn't they be on both shows? I think women's wrestling has come beyond being relegated to one show, like some special division that we just give the women. The women are integral to wrestling now, and because they're integral to wrestling, there should be a division on every show. I'm also a fan of tag team wrestling, so there should be a division on both shows, in my estimation. Having one show with no tag teams, I think, would kill that brand. I think the only way these two brands can compete head-to-head is if they're actually going, division for division. We have the Cruiserweight division, but that, to me, that is a special division. I would love to see it go onto SmackDown as well. It's where I believe the Cruiserweight division is home. Because for me, the SmackDown brand has always been that kind of alternative brand. That's the home of Cruiserweights. You look at who's in the Cruiserweight tournament, they're guys I would want to see on that Daniel Bryan brand, not the Stephanie Mick brand. I see that as more the show brand and the fight brand. We'll see if that's how WWE actually works it out, though. But anyways, he says there's no way they can do anything with their titles now. How are the titles going to work? So here's what I'm proposing that I think WWE still has a way to make the titles work and make it really, really interesting. They've already told us that we're going to see a SmackDown and a Raw pay-per-view each month, or a network special, or whatever the hell you call a pay-per-view now. And we're going to get that for 2 months. And then on the third month, basically, we're going to get a combined one. And it's going to be like quarterly, and it's going to be your big stuff. So like SummerSlam, and it might not work out exactly quarterly, but SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and maybe, who knows, they might throw another one in there. But if we have the belts, all the belts, float between all of the shows, then this works. Not the champions. That sucks. Champions floating between shows sucks. They've done that in the past, and it was terrible. They should not have the champions float between shows, because if they do, you have a world champion, an intercontinental champion, a US champion, a women's champion, and a tag team champion. That's 5 people, and they would be taking up the main storylines on both Raw and SmackDown, and nobody would be getting a chance still. It wouldn't do anything to give more people more time. But if you had the titles float and not the wrestlers, just the titles, and the only time that you can actually get SmackDown taking on Raw for a title is at one of the bigger shows, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, where they come together. Then the titles not only become important to the people holding them, but they actually become important to the brands. So which brand holds the title, right? And it's okay if you don't have a tag team title belt in SmackDown to start off, if the tag team champions are the New Day. That's fine, because you can build storylines on who's going to face the New Day at SummerSlam when SmackDown gets a chance to get that belt back. Or if there's no women's title, who's going to face Charlotte at SummerSlam to get that belt back. Now, this sucks because SummerSlam, we know we're building towards 2 Raw people, Sasha Banks and Charlotte, but who knows? This is just my idea. And again, I don't know everything, but I do know floating champions suck, and this would be a cool way to really get everybody invested in the title belts, because not only will SmackDown and Raw be competing in the ratings and in all the different metrics they're competing in, they would literally be competing for championships. Who's got the most champions on their team? And they kind of said it was floating, because they were doing this on the draft, like, ooh, I want champions. I need belts on my team. I need the belts on my side. They could just go ahead and make new belts. They could just go make another tag team, and they could make another women's. And, Mr. New York says, no, these divisions, they're not deep enough. I don't care. I think the women's division and the tag team division in SmackDown could hold their own with their own division, especially with who we have getting called up from NXT. We still have so many people to get called up, and we have so many people outside WWE that could get brought in to bolster these rosters. I'm not too worried about that if that's the way they want to go. If they want to go champions here, champions there, create our own championships, that's fine with me. I just think the floating championship idea is just puts more stake in the game for those championships. And then we could see, under that scenario, I would be fine with seeing Darren Young beat Miz and have both the titles go to Raw. And then Ambrose could retain the championship and there'd be no WWE Championship on Raw. There'd just be a US and IC. And then maybe it goes back to Raw and this comes over to SmackDown. It could be really cool. There could be things to do there. And again, I'm not saying, Vince, you need to do this because I'm smarter than you and I know better. All I'm saying is, for everybody out there that says there's no way this can work, there's always ways it can work. Do I have confidence that it's going to work out? Well, they haven't, after the draft, they haven't given me a lot of reasons to be confident that they're going to work it out, right? I didn't see two clear shows, like a vision of like show wrestling and fight wrestling, Raw and SmackDown, these two rosters. I didn't see it, but they're definitely playing it up, that this is how it's supposed to be, but it just didn't look that way after the draft. So I'm waiting to see Raw and SmackDown the first episodes and get the feel and get the sense. And I'm just going to hold on and wait and see where they're going to take me, right? Because this isn't my journey. I'm not on this journey. I don't create this journey. They do. And I'm okay with going on that ride with them. So Rusev over Ryder and Miz over Darren Young. That's the only way I see it working out, where we keep the IC in the US where they should be. Unless they do like a switch where both guys win, and I think that's terrible. I don't think they should do it. I would like for Darren Young to beat Miz, but I wouldn't like Rusev to beat Ryder. That's not where I want to see for that character right now. But if the titles are going to move any which way during these mixed pay-per-views and stuff, then I don't really care. But there you go. Rusev and Miz retaining the titles. That's what I got right now. And I might have a different opinion if I actually knew what was going on with titles, but I don't. So that's what I got right now. Becky versus Natalya. So this is the big feud between Becky Lynch and Natalya that's been building. And these are our two main SmackDown divas now. This is the lead of the SmackDown division, which is exactly what I've been wanting to see. I thought as soon as the Natalya heel turn went, I was like, yes, they're building Natalya to get taken to SmackDown, to be the top heel in SmackDown. Becky Lynch being the person against her is great. I love this. I'm going to go with Becky in this match, just because I think Becky needs the boost. Natalya's been women's champion. She's also the heel. I don't think she needs to be more heel-y. I don't think she needs it. Where Becky's never had gold. She hasn't won NXT gold. She's never been women's champion. She hasn't done the things that Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha have done. So I think coming into this new SmackDown brand as the top face, I would like her to come in winning and establishing herself, and then let people pick on her from there. But that's just me. That's what I think. From there, Cena, Enzo, and Cass versus the Club. I think hands down the Club should win this. We're way too early in the Club storyline for them to lose to a team of Cena, Enzo, and Cass. Cena, Enzo, and Cass are going to end up on different shows, and so's the Club. Could we see something with Finn Balor here, or getting that involved and setting up the Balor Club? Who knows? But I definitely don't think the Club is enough into their storyline to start losing yet. They should still be winning and dominant. They've just said they're now going to take over both shows with the split. The split doesn't mean the end of the Club. It just means we're going to take over both shows. So to book them weak right now makes no sense. So I'm going with the Club. Sami Zayn versus Owens. I'm going to go with a schmoz. Either a double DQ, double count out, fight to the back, some involvement, hit with a chair, gets too wild. I just can't see a clean win here at all. Because Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, although I want to see this match, I don't want to see it on Battleground. This should not be Battleground. This should be like SummerSlam, WrestleMania. That's it. SummerSlam or WrestleMania. That's where this match should happen. And I hope maybe this is just a schmoz to build up to SummerSlam, which is our closest big event, which is the next big event. So that would be a good place for it. Maybe like a no holds barred, falls count anywhere, no DQ match between these two to settle at Battleground. But they're both staying on Raw. So this feud doesn't have to end here. And I think it shouldn't end here. This should be a schmoz here. We should get no clear winner, some kind of whatever, and then build to Battleground. Because when we actually see this feud settle, it better be on one of the grandest stages of all, because this is a grand feud. This is a feud that transcends WWE. And so when we end this feud, I want it to be big. I don't want it to be on 2016 Battleground that nobody's going to remember. So that's me. Ambrose, Reigns, and Rollins in the triple threat. I honestly have no idea. I have no idea because I don't understand the gravity of this situation because nobody's explained where the title belts are going to go. It's hard for me to say what's going to make the most sense in this match. I don't see how it would work out at all. Personally, I think if the US and the IC, which would mean Ryder would have to beat Rusev and then Miz retains against Darren Young. But if the US and the IC both went to SmackDown and that was the only two belts they had, and they didn't have a world title, and the world title went back with Reigns or Rollins, I don't think Reigns is going to win. Not after coming off that suspension, that's for sure. I think it's coming down to Rollins or Ambrose. If Reigns wins, I'm going to be shocked. But hey, that's not bad. WWE could actually shock me for once. But no, I really don't think... I don't think Reigns is going to win. I think it's going to be Rollins or Ambrose. I think it makes the most sense for Ambrose to retain it and take it to SmackDown and then have the US and the IC on Raw and then Raw having to fight for it back at SummerSlam or something. But again, without actually knowing what's happening with the belts, Rollins could easily win it and then, SmackDown just creates their own title and that's that. And everything I'm saying doesn't make any sense. So this is a pretty tough, this whole card up and down is pretty hard to tell with going into not the draft, but into this brand separation. And this pay-per-view just ended up in this total limbo spot where we've had the draft, we've separated it, but this pay-per-view was all done before it was separate. So like I said on my draft review, I kind of just wish we could get this pay-per-view out of the way and move on to Monday and Tuesday and see what we're actually dealing with Raw and SmackDown. But I think there's going to be good matches on here. No doubt Ambrose, Reigns, and Rollins can have a good match. No doubt Sami Zayn and Owens, despite a schmoz ending, which I think it'll be, are going to have a great match. Becky and Natalya are going to have a great match. Miz, Darren Young is going to be a good match. Rusev, Ryder is going to be a good match. New Day and Wyatt's are going to be good. Sasha, Charlotte, Dana going to be good. I don't see a bum match on this pay-per-view right now. There's no poop. Storyline-wise, there's tons of poop just because of how much uncertainty there is. But in the ring wrestling, I see no poop. No poop. This looks like it's going to be a good quality event, pay-per-view, network special, whatever. I can't imagine it's going to be, oh my God, you got to see this. But I'm definitely going to check it out. Hopefully you check it out, and hopefully you check out my review of it, which should be out sometime Monday. And look at that. I got everything done this week I said I was going to do. Woo! Woo! Hey, my arm's even doing better. Woo! In between recordings, my wife made me do stuff. Loosened up my body a little bit. All right, that's it for me. Hope you guys have a great weekend. If you guys live in Ontario, which some of my 3 or 4 people who now watch this show do, make sure you're checking out Shikara on Saturday if you're in Toronto, running 2 mini shows at 2 and 7. If you're in Kitchener, PWA will be running an event in Kitchener. And if you're in Toronto on Sunday, the big show we've been waiting for, Smash versus Shikara, is going to be on Sunday, I believe at 5 o'clock, Franklin Horner Community Center. Check it out. And if you're there, I'll be there. Maybe we'll say hi. All right. Have a great day.